It's your home, your community. But who really calls the shots?
He had his clipboard on his lap, and if he was going to write you up, he'll stop right there in front of your house.
Unchecked power.
They're very powerful. It's an abuse of power, for sure.
And threatening tactics.
If they got you handcuffed behind your back?
Yes, I'm treated like a criminal.
You're going to come here and harass people that live here?
You're harassing us.
Skyrocketing cost revealing the true price of paradise.
Were members asked whether they supported spending all this money on all these fees?
The board doesn't have to ask you.
We're listening to Florida homeowners and holding those in charge accountable.
We don't feel like we have a voice, so we don't know really what to do.
As we pull back the curtain on homeowners associations.
It's very difficult when you find yourself in a tough situation and there's no help.
This is a Tampa Bay 28 investigative report. Home Sweet HOA. Thanks for joining us. I'm I-Team Investigator Adam Walser. Over the past year, you've told us what you love and mostly what you hate about homeowners associations. More than 9 million Floridians live in HOA communities. That's nearly half the state's population. Over the next hour, we'll expose cases of HOAs misusing their power. We'll start with a story which got national attention about a Riverview woman who spent a week in jail with no bond. Her arrest came after an HOA complaint about brown grass in her front lawn.
This is what they were showing in court, like pictures of the brown grass.
Yep.
The grass isn't always green in Irina Green's yard, thanks to a big tree that you can see in this drone video, and a drought that led the county to impose watering restrictions last year didn't help.
Looks like you got some pieces of sod here.
Green says her yard is far from the worst in Riverview's Creekview subdivision.
If you drive around my neighborhood, you'll see there's plenty of yards that are not up to par.
But so far, she's the only homeowner to actually go to jail for failing to keep her yard up to her HOA standards. It all started with notices from the HOA's management company.
And it went from the grass being brown to, there's a dent in my garage.
Dents too small to see from the road.
That was a part of my court case.
Green was also cited for having a dirty mailbox covered in mildew due to shade and moisture from that same tree.
I would assume you could probably clean that whole mailbox in a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
And for having a cargo van similar to other ones we observed in the neighborhood. The HOA filed a lawsuit against Green in Hillsborough County Court, demanding she correct the violations. She represented herself, preparing handwritten explanations that the HOA and judge rejected. Green appeared at a hearing last July in which the judge gave her an ultimatum.
My grass had to be brung up to par. He said, you can get seeds, you can do something, but you got 30 days to get it corrected. I said, fine. And he said, and if it's not done in 30 days, you're going to go to jail.
Irene says she spent the next month correcting the violations.
I sold my van to comply. My mailbox was clean. I bought seeds and watered my grass.
But she missed her next court date.
I was supposed to receive documentation. Nothing was sent to my home. And I reached out to the courthouse several times to try to find out when was my court date.
The judge signed an order holding Green in contempt of court and issued a warrant for her arrest at the HOA attorney's request.
It is pretty extreme. It certainly is, yeah.
We asked Stetson Law professor Paul Boudreau what he makes of this case.
I think it's pretty rare in a civil case for someone to have a contempt order.
Green was pulled over by a sheriff's deputy in late May after picking up her 15-year-old daughter from cheerleading practice.
When I got out, he said, Ms. Green, do you know that you have a warrant for your arrest?
She was taken to the Orient Road Jail.
If they got you handcuffed behind your back?
Yes, I'm treated like a criminal.
At the jail, she got more bad news.
There was no bond, so I couldn't even go home to my family. I sat in there for 7 days. 7 days in the jailhouse, like a criminal.
To be incarcerated without bond is certainly an extreme measure and is pretty rare.
Now there's a mugshot of you right now.
Yep.
How did that make you feel, just to be put in those orange clothes?
It makes me feel horrible. Like I work hard, I work hard to buy this home, for me and my kids in a better neighborhood and environment, and to be taken to jail and to be treated like that for brown grass at my own home, It's horrible.
David Lair is a Palm Beach attorney who represents homeowners in cases against HOAs. His law partner wrote the best-selling book, Bad HOA.
You have an HOA who was quick to go after her and to use the full force that they're entitled to.
Have you ever heard of it getting to this point where someone actually goes to jail?
I have not seen that. To be clear, the association does not have the power to put you in jail. Certain other events intervened. Certainly, the judge had the right to do it. I think perhaps there could be more lenient remedies.
Green's sister-in-law, who is a paralegal, filed a petition 6 days after she was incarcerated, requesting an emergency hearing.
And I went to court, and I had to be shackled from my hands to my feet.
And you're there in civil county court, right?
Yeah.
You're the only one wearing orange, right?
Yeah, the only one.
Green's relatives sent pictures of the yard and other evidence to the judge, a different one than the judge who issued the arrest warrant. Green says an attorney for the HOA opposed her release.
He says, well, it hasn't been resodded. The whole yard needs to be resodded. And she's like, not from those pictures that I see. She's like, no, I want her released immediately.
So you were going to sit in jail while they resodded your yard?
Yeah, he wanted me to continue to sit in jail and not come home to my family.
Green was released on the judge's order. We caught up with Creekview HOA attorney Francis Frischia, the one who asked for the arrest warrant, outside his office. Do you think that was kind of harsh to have her spend 7 days, I believe, in jail?
I have no comment, but I'll email you on that.
He emailed us a statement saying in part, quote, Ms. Green received notices of violations. She disregarded them. Ms. Green failed to show up in court on August 19th. Her failure to abide by the court's instruction led to the arrest warrant being issued. We called and left a business card at the Creekview HOA president's home, and we called and emailed the HOA's property management company, which issued the violations. We didn't hear back from either. Legal experts say there are lessons to be learned.
Sometimes they act in a petty manner, but if they decide that you need to do something, you need to follow the rules. And when a judge tells you to do something, you have to do it.
I think that they have way too much power. I mean, I never heard of anything like this in my life.
I uncovered Irina Green isn't the only one in her neighborhood facing serious consequences following minor complaints. You're in a situation where they're trying to take your house over legal fees.
Right. Well, they were going to put a lien on it.
We'll share that story in the next half hour. But first, a Pasco County homeowner wakes up thinking someone stole his truck. Turns out his HOA had it towed from his own driveway.
I don't know what their motive is, but we're just the ant farm and they got the magnifying glass and they're picking us out.
Up next, we listen to outraged neighbors who say they're being harassed. You're watching Home Sweet HOA on Tampa Bay 28. Welcome back to Home Sweet HOA. Picture this. You wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of a tow truck hauling your car out of your driveway. What's worse? Your HOA gave the green light to take it. Security footage shows a stranger lurking outside Brendan Wells' home at 2 a.m.
Someone came up into my driveway with my truck's backed in, took a picture of my license plate, and then took it off the property.
The tow truck belongs to A1 Recovery, which has a contract with the Lone Star Ranch HOA where Wells lives to enforce parking rules. What was the reason?
My registration was out of date by a month.
You're talking about your tag on the back of your car.
So this happened in October, and then my registration went out in September.
When Wells woke up, he thought his truck was stolen. Instead, he discovered it had been towed to this lot 14 miles away. His girlfriend drove him to pick it up, but Wells missed a full morning of classes at the National Aviation Academy.
An hour and a half, 2 hours roll by, and finally someone shows up.
What'd you have to pay the tow company?
$200-something bucks. That's my grocery money for the month.
A similar scene played out in the neighborhood 2 nights later. First, the A1 Recovery driver hooks up a truck parked on a county-maintained road, but realizes he's unable to tow it because it has four-wheel drive. Neighbors confront the tow company employees as they try to tow a nearby Tesla.
You're going to come here and harass people that live here?
You're harassing us.
I'm not doing my job.
You're not doing your job. This is
in the middle of the night.
This cell phone video was shot by Tampa Bay 28 photographer Allison Shaw, but she had no role in determining how this story was reported. It was her car that tow truck drivers hooked up moments earlier. Shaw's security camera captured video of the driver walking uninvited onto her private property, taking photos of her tag, then hooking up her car while it was plugged into the house.
You need to drop it.
I told you it'd be a $75 drop fee.
We can take hard cash.
No.
No.
Okay, we can call the police then.
Call the police.
The A1 employees explain they are carrying out orders from the HOA.
I am employed by the HOA right now.
Attorney Kathleen Raris represents the Lone Star Ranch HOA.
Does the HOA have the right to say you can go in that driveway, that private property, and check those tags?
I think it does. Whether that's a good idea is an entirely different issue.
Raris says Lone Star signed an agreement years ago allowing A1 Recovery to enforce parking restrictions. We found this generic A1 Recovery contract online, which allows businesses, apartments, and HOAs to check boxes indicating which rules A1 can enforce.
The association goes to the vendor. They say, vendor, we need your professional help. And the vendor says, here's our contract, take it or leave it.
And they don't get paid if they don't tow those trucks.
Exactly. So there's a motivation by the vendor in this case to have as many boxes checked as possible, so as many vehicles can be towed as possible.
A1 Recovery declined an interview request, but their lawyer said in an email, quote, "My client has a written agreement with the Lone Star Ranch Homeowners Association and at all times operated under the direction of their president." The driver told neighbors he was given a list.
31 vehicles. That's fine. I'm thinking 10 of them.
That's out of about 250 single-family houses and townhomes.
So you guys sitting everything to your president. Okay?
Have the president here.
It's an abuse of power for sure. I don't know what their motive is, but we're just the ant farm and they got the magnifying glass and they're picking us out.
The driver suddenly dropped Allison's Tesla unexpectedly when she sat on the hood of her car with her feet on the towing boom. She's having it checked out to see if it caused any damage. Pasco County deputies arrived minutes later and wanted to see the company's authorization.
Where's the actual? I need physical documents.
Thank you.
This is what our contract. You understand what I'm saying? I don't have to have it on me when I arrest somebody for a warrant. I have to have a physical copy of the warrant. Right?
Deputies told the tow truck driver he was overstepping his bounds.
You have no authority to be here whatsoever. If you hook up to a vehicle and you take it, it's considered vehicle theft. You will be prosecuted for grand theft. Yeah, you did it right now. The vehicle's still here. The next time you try to take another vehicle, our supervisor said you will be prosecuted for vehicle theft. They said if I take another vehicle out of here, I will be prosecuted.
2 days after we interviewed neighbors, the HOA suspended towing by A1 Recovery.
Right now, the instruction to A1 from the board president was cease and desist. We don't want you towing from the single family homes.
But moments after he was given a trespass warning on the night of the incident, the driver tells whoever he's talking to on his cell phone he'll be back.
Just get that taken care of, and then when you get that taken care of, I'll be back out.
Do we really want vendors going on people's property with a flashlight in the middle of the night to try and look for violations? And I think the board will probably agree that's probably not what we want.
You've heard the expression, what's in a name? Well, one neighborhood is paying a high price to find out.
It's insane to ask people to pay that for her.
You guys weren't really consulted on this, right?
Not at all.
Next on Home Sweet HOA, the legal fight costing homeowners tens of thousands. How much would you pay to avoid changing the name of your neighborhood? Some homeowners in one Pinellas County subdivision are racking up huge legal fees after one neighbor applied to trademark the name.
It's a good family neighborhood. It used to be very peaceful, no drama.
The Stonebriar subdivision in northern Pinellas County consists of 59 3- and 4-bedroom single-family homes with mature trees and well-landscaped yards. For 33 years, Stonebriar Improvement District, Inc., the neighborhood's HOA, has overseen road paving, maintained common areas, and enforced the nonprofit HOA's bylaws.
I can't really say we've had any problem up until the last couple of years.
Recently, residents have faced six-figure assessments from the HOA to cover past and future legal bills. The cases involve homeowner John Siamas, who ran for Florida State Senate in 2024 but was defeated in the primary. He posted this ad on YouTube.
I am running for State Senate, District 21, which includes Pinellas and Pasco counties.
Siamas' first run-in with the HOA started in 2020 when he put a small plastic shed in his backyard. Neighbor John Papa said Siamas didn't want to play by the rules.
He put up a shed, and the covenants indicated no sheds.
The HOA board sued Siamas, alleging his shed was considered an outbuilding and violated covenants. Siamas responded in court documents that he sought permission for the shed from the HOA management company, but never heard back. In an email, Siamas called it a plastic snap-together shed, which he planned to block from sight with plants. Last August, residents received their first $35,000 assessment, $595 per household, to cover legal fees for the case. Neighbor Ken Christensen blames the HOA president.
It's insane to ask people to pay that for her.
You guys weren't really consulted on this, right?
Not at all.
But that was just the beginning. Just last month, the 5-member HOA board approved an $82,000 assessment, almost $1,400 per household, for more legal fees.
When we all got the letter that showed why this assessment was necessary, people really reacted.
Were members asked whether they supported spending all this money on all these fees?
The board doesn't have to ask you.
According to this notice to homeowners, the money will pay a trademark attorney $425 an hour to oppose an application John Siamas filed with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to trademark the term Stonebriar Improvement Association, Inc.
I think it's foolish. I mean, why would he do it?
The HOA board filed a dispute to Siamas' trademark claim and tried to trademark the name Stonebriar itself. This is the timeline from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, showing that the dispute process is expected to run through November 2026. A patent attorney hired by the HOA board prepared a litigation budget, anticipating spending 141 hours on the case.
And that's who's making money, is the lawyers, for sure.
Former HOA President Stephen King says the Stonebriar Improvement Association has served the neighborhood for 33 years without a trademark, and he doesn't know why they need it now.
I think a trademark is only really for commercial, and if that's the case, then we're not selling anything.
Most neighbors we talked to agree.
Does that really affect the ability of the HOA to do its business?
No, not at all.
After the HOA challenged the trademark, John Siamas filed state and federal complaints against the HOA and its president, Gail Zelk. In a federal lawsuit, Siamas alleges the president's actions, quote, were retaliatory in nature designed to maximize legal expenses, with the ultimate goal of causing financial ruin and to force him to sell his home and leave her neighborhood. We called, emailed, and went to see Siamas.
I'm with ABC Action News. I'd emailed him.
Siamas later came to the door but refused to comment. HOA President Gail Zelks, who we talked to on the phone, also declined to comment. Siamas wrote a letter to Stonebriar residents saying, quote, I really hate to break this to everyone, but no one really cares about the name and no one is trying to, quote, steal it. And the truth is you're just wasting your money that you will never see again on some personal vendetta. In the letter, Siamas offers to, quote, stop all the nonsense and get homeowners' money back, urging them to rally together and support the change.
It's divided everybody up, obviously. Before, everybody got along.
We just basically want to get back to normal.
It's hard to live here now.
We started our show with a woman who was jailed after complaints about her grass. Well, in that same neighborhood, another homeowner almost lost her house over faded paint.
And you painted this house how many times?
3 times since 2015.
Wow, I don't think anybody around
Nobody
here.
paints their house that many times.
How a dispute over paint turned into a foreclosure notice as Home Sweet HOA continues.
HOA doesn't really maintain anything other than the grass in some areas, and yet you're being charged $500, $600 plus a month.
It's insane to ask people to pay that.
It's so important for the vibrancy of the community.
Do we really want vendors going on people's property with a flashlight in the middle of the night to try and look for violations?
We got a violation on a Sunday for having a toy wagon outside.
When they just choose to live in an HOA, they agree to abide by all the rules of the community.
Thanks for staying with us here on Tampa Bay 28 for this investigative report, Home Sweet HOA. I'm Adam Walser. At the top of the hour, we introduced you to Irina Green, who spent a week in jail after an HOA complaint about her lawn.
Be taken to jail and to be treated like that for brown grass at my own home, you know, like it's horrible.
After that story aired, another homeowner in that same neighborhood reached out with another story of unchecked power.
Our president lives here, and then this young lady's on the board.
Shauna Cruz Munoz says the Creekview HOA, where she owns a home, has lots of rules about everything from putting away trash cans to maintaining lawns.
This is some tall grass there.
Yes.
The HOA board hired a property manager, Ron Trowbridge of the Trowbridge Company, and a law firm, Frischia and Ross, to implement 67 pages of covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Neighbors say Trowbridge aggressively enforced those rules.
He would ride through here really slow in his truck. He had his clipboard on his lap, and if he was going to write you up, he'll stop right there in front of your house.
We got a violation on a Sunday for having a toy wagon outside.
A neighbor who wouldn't go on camera told us Trowbridge demanded that he replace his sod 3 times in 2 years. HOA attorney David Lair says appointing third parties to enforce rules can bring down morale.
If there's a situation where the board is really hitting the keys to the property manager, I think that's where you tend to run into problems because you're not dealing with someone who lives there, who's a neighbor, who maybe really understands the people who live there in the community.
It was like he was running the show.
Shauna says she was involved in a years-long battle with Trowbridge over her home's exterior paint.
And you painted this house how many times?
3 times since 2015.
Wow, I don't think anybody around
Nobody
here
paints their house that many times.
Shauna says it started shortly after she moved in.
I got a first notification that the side of my house had some fading, and all it said was, you know, I needed to touch up the faded spots. So I did.
Here's video of her son, a contractor, painting her home. Shauna says she sent Trowbridge proof she repainted and thought her issue was resolved.
And then maybe 7 months later, I get served.
She got notice of a lawsuit which said, quote, the home appears to have been partially painted. However, the painting of the home was not ever completed. The paint is badly faded on the sides and rear.
I'm calling, nobody returns my call. I email, probably the 4th email in, I got somebody that replied back and said, oh, we see that you painted the house, but you need to touch up some more things on the driveway.
Shauna says she repainted the rest of the house and notified Trowbridge.
Some more months went by, I didn't hear anything, and then all of a sudden I start getting all these letters in the mail that say, hey, let us help you with your foreclosure. And I'm like, what foreclosure? I call my bank, they're like, nope, we don't have anything. And I'm like, what is it? Can't possibly understand. Find out it's the HOA. They had put a lien on my house.
And you didn't know?
I didn't know anything about it.
She emailed Trowbridge and he responded, quote, we know nothing of a message or foreclosure. A lawsuit has been filed against you by the HOA. You should respond as instructed in the lawsuit. Your communication regarding this matter must be with the attorney, not the HOA office. The foreclosure action was for the HOA's attorney's bills.
You're in a situation where they're trying to take your house over legal fees.
Right. Well, they were going to put a lien on it.
And if you didn't respond, that could eventually end up at the courthouse steps, right?
Oh, at the courthouse steps. And then they would, every time they go down to do something, they just add another fee on it, because as of December, it was only like $4,100. By the time we were done, it was at $5,100.
We emailed and called Trowbridge, but he didn't respond.
This is Adam Walser.
We also called and dropped by the HOA president's home, but didn't hear back from him either. Shauna agreed to settle her foreclosure lawsuit by paying Frischia's fees in monthly installments.
If you go to court, he's just going to keep tacking on, because he, every time he has to say anything, be anywhere, file any paperwork, who knows how high this could have gone.
Hundreds of dollars an hour.
Hundreds of dollars an hour, absolutely.
Next on Home Sweet HOA, Hurricane Helene survivors face a harsh deadline: remove their belongings or lose them forever. Welcome back to Home Sweet HOA. You've probably never heard the name Rudy Clark, but chances are you know his music. He wrote some of the biggest hits of the 1960s and 70s, recorded by major names like Aretha Franklin and George Harrison. His daughter reached out to us after Hurricane Helene, when her late father's gold records disappeared. Madeira Beach Yacht Club is the furthest thing from a swanky beach oasis after Hurricane Helene.
We have 130 units. All of them were flooded on the bottom.
The Condo Association gave residents until October 15th to get what they wanted, or a contractor hired by the association's insurance company would throw it all away.
Some people are going to lose some items they'd rather have.
I could save a bucket. Would you really want to?
Condo owner Brian McFall is glad contractors are doing the dirty work. He and dozens of other owners signed this form giving permission for the contractor to remove his personal property.
We signed a waiver, and we were very lucky they came in and they got rid of everything. Didn't have to do anything. It was easy, because there's nothing really salvageable.
McFall says the sooner everyone clears out their stuff, the sooner repairs can get started.
I would definitely say it's a race against time because there's no AC, there's nothing running out here. As all that mold is starting to grow up, we're going to be affecting the people that are allowed to stay, which are the second-story units.
Do you think that it's right for somebody to come in and take somebody's things and put it to the curb?
Absolutely not.
Roseanne Curry is a local owner, but she says about half of the owners live in other states or other countries. Many have not been able to remove their belongings.
Why is someone else allowed to decide what is worth saving and what's not?
The association says most owners signed the consent forms, but some did not.
If they didn't sign it, should they still be allowed to come in there?
No. Why? That's a permission slip. You don't have my permission. Leave it alone. And if it holds up everybody, oh well. This isn't getting done anytime soon.
Gina Clark, who lives in New York City, is one of those owners who says she did not sign the consent form. She inherited her condo from her late father, Rudy Clark. He wrote dozens of hit songs from the 60s and 70s, including Good Lovin', Everybody Plays the Fool, I've Got My Mind Set on You, and the Shoop Shoop song. Gina flew down after Hurricane Helene, but says furniture and appliances blocked her from retrieving personal items before she had to leave.
So I'm over here at 201 Beach, your unit. Everything's been cleaned out.
Yeah.
There's a pile of stuff on the front here.
They threw my stuff out like garbage. And things like that, things that represent my late father, they're gone. And they can't be replaced. And this did not have to happen this way.
Among the missing items, 2 of her father's gold records and the flag from his military funeral.
It was the actual flag that they fold and they place on the casket.
Was it in anything, or was just a flag by itself?
It was the flag folded, and I had it in a protective plastic bag.
The board says the deadline to submit the authorization form has passed.
They had the opportunity, and now the opportunity is gone. See, as a board, we have a fiduciary responsibility to all the owners and also to the buildings themselves. So we've got to get these buildings up and running.
And attorney Jonathan Ellis, who is not involved in this situation, says the law is generally on the side of the board.
The statute allows the association to come in and actually start disposing of things within the unit that can cause damage. The statute specifically says you can get rid of carpeting, drywall, things like that may create mold problems.
But he says the law is not clear on items being removed that don't get in the way of remediation.
What happens when there's a jewelry box? Does that really need to get thrown out? Especially if you actually open it and you see there's a fair amount of gold or silver.
If you're not here and you're not here full time and you have these possessions here, are they really, really that meaningful? Are they that valuable? That's why you leave them sit here?
Photojournalist Randy Wright and I searched the bags near Gina's condo but didn't find the flag or the gold records. The small piles scattered around the complex were constantly being moved by contractors and added to much bigger piles, making it virtually impossible to find anything.
People's sentimental values, I can understand that, and I feel bad. I do. It's horrible, but it's not about me. It's about us.
Sentimental values often worth more than gold. Still ahead on Home Sweet HOA, Your right to vote is priceless, but how much are you willing to spend on an HOA election?
Why are you spending all this money when we have things you could do, like for one, not raising your monthly maintenance fees?
The legal battle that's coming out of homeowners' pockets. Welcome back to Home Sweet HOA. Some neighbors in Carrollwood reached out to me after my HOA investigations went viral. They're fed up with paying big bucks to their association's lawyer in a fight over an election.
They're spending an awful lot of money trying to defend a lawsuit that they have already lost.
I did some digging and learned this fight is costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. With more than 1,800 homes, the Plantation of Carrollwood is one of Hillsborough County's largest deed-restricted communities. It has a clubhouse, 2 pools, soccer fields, and a full-time staff.
A community this size is larger than some of the cities in Florida.
Ryan Munson's legal battle with the Plantation HOA started when he ran for the HOA board in 2019. Before the election, he says he learned there were questionable activities going on at the HOA office, while families were signing up kids for the community's annual soccer program.
They quickly find out if someone is a resident, and they will then ask them, how are you voting this year? And they will on the spot say, hey, we need you to vote for this person, this person, this person.
Munson says HOA staff handed homeowners proxies to fill out on the spot. Proxy voting was not allowed under the HOA's bylaws, but the board had been doing it that way for years, re-electing many of the same leaders repeatedly. When Election Day came, there was not a quorum, which is required under Florida's HOA law. Munson filed a complaint with the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, which investigates HOA election complaints.
DBPR, they look at everything. They look at how everything was filed, how the election was run. They ran through everything, and they said, have a new election.
Their decision was considered binding. A new election would have cost homeowners little. The HOA board and their attorney, Francis Frischia, chose to appeal instead, hiring another attorney to argue the case before the Florida 2nd District Court of Appeals.
You add hour upon hour upon hour upon hour, it becomes a sticking point real quickly.
The case was not heard by the appeals court until 2 years after the election.
Those are 2 pretty serious things. This isn't like, we just messed up a little bit. I mean, no quorum. And the bulk, I think 70% or something, were absentee ballots, of which there's no provision. That's pretty serious.
Essentially, they're taking the position that what we say goes and you can't appeal us. And our position is there's no statutory basis for that, and that violates our right to access the courts.
Isn't your real remedy just to have another election?
So it's our position that it's not necessary to have an election because
you'd rather go up on appeal and wait for a long time for a decision? I mean, this is beyond the scope of why we're here, but I have to say it. I mean, that when I read this, I kept saying, why don't they just have another election?
The HOA lost their appeal, meaning they had to pay Munson's legal bills in addition to their own.
How much did this cost you to question the board and take it to DBPR?
So well over $100,000 because they filed with the 2nd District Court of Appeals, and I had to pay for that as well.
That's more than twice as much as the $49,000 Munson paid for his home in 1995. The HOA board sued another homeowner in 2022 for allegedly filing a fraudulent proxy, signing the name of a homeowner who was deceased.
So this was basically over one proxy, right?
Right.
Would that have changed the outcome of the election?
Not by a long shot.
Yet that case has been in court for 3 years and has 315 docket entries, nearly twice as many court events as the Terry Schiavo guardianship case that got worldwide attention in the early 1990s, which only had 182 filings. The HOA's filings included affidavits, depositions, subpoenas, and dozens of exhibits. The HOA lost the case, appealed it, and had it dismissed by the 2nd DCA.
They're spending an awful lot of money trying to defend a lawsuit that they have already lost.
Altman provided us with the HOA's annual budgets from 2020 through 2024, showing the board spent $291,000 more than it budgeted for legal special matters between 2020 and 2024.
$200 and some thousand would do a whole lot in this community,
It
right?
sure would. And that's kind of what we're, arguing about, is why you're spending all this money when we have things you could do, like for one, not raising your monthly maintenance fees.
A homeowner questioned Plantation's property manager Ron Trowbridge about budget shortfalls at an April HOA meeting.
So we were taking money from the replacement fund, which is the reserve, and putting it into operating. Is that not true?
Yeah, last year that might have happened on a couple of occasions, yes.
Up to the tune of $167,000.
Right.
And the year before that, it was $94,000, according to the audit.
Right.
Only 3 of 9 board members were there.
The money is there to be utilized for the community, the improvement of the community, not to sit in the bank.
For them to transfer money out of reserves requires a vote by the membership, and they're just not doing that.
We emailed the HOA's attorney, Francis Frischia, who wrote back that he couldn't talk about the cases because one is still pending. Neither property manager Ron Trowbridge nor HOA president Tony Rivera responded to interview requests. Munson got a big chunk of that money after the HOA lost its appeal.
Eventually, they did give me back $80,000, well less than what I paid.
But that's $80,000 that came from your neighbors, right?
Yep, and me. My money came back to me.
Still to come on Home Sweet HOA, a fight over the type of vehicle you drive and where you park it. You're watching Home Sweet HOA. In 2024, a new Florida law took effect preventing homeowners associations from banning pickup trucks and work trucks from parking in driveways. But Sarasota homeowners called us to complain their HOA was not following that law. Brian McIntyre, who goes by Mac, loves his 2014 Chevy Silverado pickup.
It's functional, hauling things most of all. Also is the extended cab, because I do have a wife and daughter.
But his truck doesn't easily fit into his garage, and
I cannot park my own truck in my own driveway.
His subdivision, The Meadows, doesn't allow pickup trucks or commercial vehicles in their driveways between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. based on rules written in 1976, before Jimmy Carter first took office. Violators caught by the association's nightly safety patrol face warning letters, fines, and can be towed out of their own driveways. Mac agreed to the rules when he moved into the neighborhood in 2019, but hoped a new law would change that.
You can imagine how ecstatic I was when I heard that I could park it in my own house.
Mac and his wife now make twice daily trips to drop off and pick up his truck at a fenced-in lot our odometer shows is 0.8 of a mile from his home. He and his neighbors pay $500 per vehicle per year to park there.
We all know each other. We see each other every night and every morning.
If you come back at night, it's full. Everybody's paying to park in here.
Melissa Syatt lives on the opposite side of the 1,600-acre neighborhood.
The schlepping, the back and forth, it's hot, it's a lot.
She runs a mobile aesthetics business out of a $200,000 custom Mercedes van.
I've got my own power, water, everything.
Her husband also parks a pickup in the lot. Melissa welcomed the new law, which says, quote, Homeowners Association documents, including declarations of covenants, articles of incorporation, or bylaws, may not preclude a property owner or a tenant, a guest, or an invitee from parking his or her personal vehicle, including a pickup truck, in the property owner's driveway.
I thought it was for everybody. We got so excited about it when it, got signed, and we thought, great, this is going to save us $1,000 a year. And yeah. That's not happening.
Meadows residents got this email days before the law went into effect saying, quote, all current parking rules and regulations will remain the same.
They got ahead of it and said, no, we're going to keep everything the same way. So we're ended up with more questions than answers at this point.
They've also sent out reminders after the law went into effect. The general manager for the Meadows Community Association declined an on-camera interview, but said in an email that the application of the new law depends on the governing language of the community association and the time it was recorded. The email referred to something called Kaufman language.
Some restrictions have what's known as Kaufman language, which was sort of a famous case.
Attorney John Ellis says some HOAs incorporate the language as amended from time to time in their bylaws and other documents.
That's indicating if the legislature changes the statute, that would apply. Most homeowners associations don't have that language,
including the Meadows. Both Mac and Melissa plan to abide by the existing rules.
We don't feel like we have a voice, so we don't know really what to do.
But they hope someone will challenge them.
It got the governor to sign it into law. So I cannot be the only one with this concern.
Florida homeowners say they've had enough. Rising fees, lawsuits, even arrests, all tied to HOAs. Now one state lawmaker says it may be time to get rid of them. That's next on Home Sweet HOA. Many of you have raised serious concerns about your homeowners association. A Tampa Bay couple is turning years of frustration into a statewide movement. Paul and Brandy Miller reached out to me after seeing my reporting on HOAs. The couple became so fed up with their HOA, they started taking action. They filed a lawsuit, started Facebook groups, and called elected leaders. But it didn't stop there. They recently brought a group with them to Tallahassee as calls for HOA reform hit a boiling point. Our cameras were there as they marched outside the state capitol with signs calling to end what they call HOA abuse. Paul tells me they're a small but mighty group. And they're not alone. One Florida lawmaker is also saying HOAs must go. Representative Juan Carlos Porras out of Miami-Dade County says he wants to file a bill to ban HOAs statewide. The idea sparked thousands of comments online. A lot of you are on board with this idea, but others support HOAs, saying they provide structure. Whether that idea gets traction in the legislature is still unknown. Porras says he'll start drafting legislation ahead of the next session. Governor Ron DeSantis hasn't weighed in, but Porras says it's a conversation Florida can't ignore. And this is a conversation we will not ignore. I've been investigating homeowners associations all over the Tampa Bay area for several years now. I want to know, are you in a battle with your HOA? We're here to listen. Take a minute to grab your phone, scan that QR code on your screen, and connect with me by filling out a form. We're committed to following through for you and holding those in power accountable. This has been a Tampa Bay 28 investigative report, Home Sweet HOA. I'm Adam Walser. Thanks for watching.